Hello, my little ninjas. My name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News, and welcome to your 420th episode of Mox Talks. I been walking around a lot today. Me and Rufus went on 2 walks today, and it was blue sky. There was blue sky and sunshine. I have not felt the sunshine for 3 weeks or something. I saw on Sunday there was blue sky. There was tons of blue sky, but we walked around in the shade because I've been wanting to walk over in this place where it's all shaded for 3 weeks. A lot. I've been wanting to do it, and we haven't been able to. So, anyways, we walked around twice today. We saw a bald eagle. That was pretty cool. Said hi to lots of people. I always like that. Rufus likes it too. And asked the neighbors if they want some mushrooms, because I got a bunch of mushrooms that I'm not gonna eat the majority of. So they're nice. I give them cookies all the time. Let's see. What's wrong with the audio? Is something wrong with the audio? Huh? Is the audio fucked up? I have no idea. So it's call-in show. I know there's nobody in here. If you want to call, the telephone number's there, 805-669-6397. I'm about ready for a bong hit momentarily. So, why is there so much censorship in social media? I think it's an excellent question. I think it's an obvious answer, but I think it's an excellent question, and I don't understand. This seems like a really important news story, right? This is America. We're all about freedom, and especially freedom of speech. And there's just censorship everywhere. And it's like, oh yeah, censored, whatever. I guess he said something wrong. There isn't saying anything wrong. Saying something wrong is not possible. You understand? Saying something wrong is like saying, I don't know. Saying something wrong is just like breathing wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you're breathing wrong, which is possible to breathe wrong. But there'd be very few people who could tell you, hey, you're not breathing correctly. There'd be very, very few people. As where here, it's like you could say something, and they go, oh, we're going to censor that, right? And people go, oh, okay, he said this thing, and now he's getting censored. He should know better, right? But people come up to you and go, hey, I thought you were just told that you're breathing wrong. Why are you still breathing wrong? And you know what I'm saying? It's this thing about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is meant to be unadulterated. I hear people say, oh, but you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. This is untrue. It is not illegal. It's not illegal to yell fire in a crowded theater. The freedom, I don't know. See, it's like they say so many people have fought and died for your freedom, right? Which I could say is probably true. Although a lot of it was fighting for, the weapons manufacturers and stuff like that. But I believe most of the people that were fighting were actually feeling somewhere inside that they're fighting for freedom. And, so people fought and gave their lives for freedom. Again and again and again, and probably millions of them. Around the world, probably millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people have fought for freedom. And here it's supposed to be the law of the land. And yet, every time somebody's censored, the only people who ever say anything about it is like some bullshit news organization like Newsmax, right? Newsmax goes, oh my God, they censored these people, right? And then I post a Newsmax video about a veteran stopping a robbery at a convenience store, and they give me a copyright strike for it. In fact, the current copyright strike is from Newsmax, who whines and whines about people being censored off of YouTube. And then they fucking censored this video, which was nothing to censor. Again, it's a veteran stopping an armed robbery in a convenience store. How is that something that we have to censor? You know, it's not like, Eric Bolling sat up there going, oh, we gotta fuck the government up the ass. And I played that over and over again. So it's just bullshit. And I don't know why people aren't just fighting tooth and nail. This is unacceptable. Instead of, oh, well, I guess that's he did something wrong. I have a live show scheduled that says, should people be allowed to sue YouTube for shadow banning? This thing where it's the censorship. It's not what we're supposed to be doing. It's not what. I don't understand why people are so accepting of the censorship. This shit about January 6th, where we can't talk about, what happened, why it happened, Is this why the censorship is happening? Because they're afraid of an actual insurrection, as opposed to, the protest that happened on January 6th, 2021, that was an insurrection. No, that wasn't an insurrection. The people rising up. We, the people, rising up to say enough is a fucking enough. Okay? Screw your censorship. Screw your fucking your mandates. This is America. Okay? We're supposed to be able to make up our own mind and decide when we feel that we should censor ourselves. Okay? Lenny Bruce, who was I don't call him a great comedian, because a lot of his stuff was not that funny, but he was very thought provoking, and he talked a lot about freedom, and he got arrested again and again and again for saying fuck, basically for saying the word fuck. He was dragged off stage at place at where he was performing, place after place, and arrested for saying the word fuck. Okay? This is the danger of censorship. What is that what's gonna happen next, YouTube? We can't say this word, we can't say that word. I guess it's already happening, right? You can't talk about this, can't talk about that. Oh, that word is off limits. I watched a movie last night where they kept using the F word, not fuck, but the other F word, and guys were hitting on 15 and 16-year-old girls, like adult men. And there's a movie named Blame It on Rio, in which two 65-year-old men are fighting over a 15-year-old girl. It's hilarious. Hello, caller.
Michael, this is Steve, Mother Deep McClanahan. Are you serious? We're not allowed to say the F word right now? Because I'm fucking telling you, dude, I think I might have Tourette's syndrome because I say fuck so goddamn fucking much currently. How the fuck are they gonna fucking do this again? Are they gonna fuck us?
They're not ever gonna stop. They're not ever gonna stop doing this. This is as long as we just take it. They're not going to stop. It's only going to increase.
How the fuck am I going to stop saying fuck?
Yeah, don't stop saying fuck. Don't stop saying it.
I can't say saying fuck, Michael.
Don't stop.
Fucking shit is completely fucked.
Don't stop. Why would you want to stop?
I can't stop, even if I wanted to.
I thought you liked that word.
They've tried, Michael. They've tried to make me stop saying it, and I just can't, because I swear to God, Michael, all the fucking shit is completely fucked.
Well, I can't do what they tell me to do, regardless of what it is, simply because I'm not going to be told what the fuck to do.
Well, Michael, I can actually be told what to do, but I tell you what, I might slip up and say a fucking cuss word. You might fucking be like, you might be in the middle of some shit, Okay, and then you're literally in the middle of some fucking shit, and boom, you just fuck it. You're like, oh fuck, fuck, fucking shit, holy fucking shit, oh my fucking god, ladies and gentlemen, this is completely fucked. Fuck this shit. Oh my fucking god, ladies and gentlemen, everything out there is completely fucked currently.
Okay.
If I go to jail for that, Michael, I swear to God, I will beat the shit out of everyone I fucking see. You hear me?
Well, you will go to jail for that.
No, I'm not going to jail for that. I am not gonna fucking go. I'm fucking over my dead body. Come and take it.
Okay.
Come and take my fucking
Okay.
from me.
Okay. Okay.
Fuck you up.
Okay.
I gotta go, Michael.
Thanks for calling.
Alrighty. Fuck you.
Right back at you, buddy. I'm not your buddy, pal. I'm not your pal, buddy. I'm not your buddy, pal. Okay, where were we? Anarchy. I prefer anarchy too, but we can't have anarchy without overthrowing the government. Okay? The government's going to throw people who want anarchy in jail as much as possible. So I want anarchy also. I love anarchy. I wanna be anarchy. Anarchy. I'm not messing around here. I want anarchy absolutely 100%. Well, more or less 100%. Because I don't want people told how to live. This is the thing for me is I don't ever want to be told how to live. You need to live this way. No, I don't need to do that. I don't desire to do that. I will find a way that is unique to me. Thank you very much. And I have, and I'm very, very, very happy with that. Honestly, I don't have. I don't want to be somebody else. I don't want someone else's life. It's funny, Craig the other day called me former living legend, right? And I'm like, dude, you don't really get this legend thing, do you? In fact, that's what I told him. Former living legend. It's not possible to be a former living legend unless you're dead. Because once you achieve legendary status, it doesn't just go away. So and I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you what Craig said, and I thought it was interesting because, like I said, I don't want to be somebody else. I don't want to have a different life. I see all these people and they want a different life. I mean, it'd be nice not to have a deadly plague in which we all have to hide in our homes and we can't go anywhere unless we have a vaccine passport. It'd be nice to not have that, But then again, this is this, telling people how to live. This is this, you do as I say or go to jail, And this last couple of years. This has been more of a police state than I ever imagined it could have been. Although, it's pretty obvious that the police state has been coming for a long time, and it's chipped away, a little more police state, a little more police state. Oh, now we have freedom of speech zones. What? Freedom of speech zones? Are you kidding me? Yes, if you say something outside the freedom of speech zone, you will be arrested. America, the United States, the entirety of the United States is a freedom of speech zone. Okay? George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, fucking John Kerry, prison now, forever. Okay? And why? Because they agreed that we should have free speech zones during their fucking political campaigns. Free speech zones in America, as if somehow that's acceptable. And you will be arrested If you step out of the free speech zone and you have a sign and you have something to say, you will be arrested. You know how much the cops and the politicians want to do that in Seattle? You want to know how much they want to do it in Portland, in everywhere? Okay? They don't want to just do it in Seattle and in Portland and next to political conferences. They want this everywhere. Oh, if you're going to say that, you're going to have to go over here to the freedom of speech zone. Otherwise, we're going to have to arrest you. And the freedom of speech zone apparently is not in social media. So there you have it, you know. Where do we go from here, right? I want the social media platforms, at least the big ones, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, I want them seized by the government. And I know you're going to go, oh, well then the government knows everything that we know. The government already knows all your secrets, dude. Okay? Oh, well then the government's going to be in charge of censoring us. Right, but we can sue the government for censoring our freedom of expression. You know, we can't sue, apparently, we can't sue YouTube. We can't sue Facebook. We can't sue Google, Twitter, you know, Instagram. We're not allowed because they're private platforms in which the owners of those platforms make the rules on what you can say and what you can't say. Now, if the government sees them, the government already has a set of rules on what you can say and what you can't say. And I'm telling you something right now. There would be lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit against the government for the most basic fucking censorship. So all you people who think, oh, it's a really shitty idea for the government to throw the free. No, it's not. It's a really good idea because they have all the bandwidth in the world. They already know what we're doing. You know, so what is the problem here? You know, what they're gonna censor? They're not going to be able to censor us in any way like Zuckerberg does. I mean, it doesn't censor me. I got no idea what happens on Facebook, other than Craig telling me. I don't do Facebook. I don't do any social media. I just have been trying to open eyes with videos here and there. And it's not a matter of, you know, this is who I am. Look, I went to this place and I went to this place and I went, you know, I went for a walk. I saw an eagle. There was blue sky today. I'm so cool. Look at me, I'm so cool. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well. There's blue sky. That was nice. Do you feel the sunshine? The sunshine felt really good today.
Briefly. I was able to do a little bit of work during the sun break, but, you know, whatever. Take what you can get, yeah? Yes, it was sunny today, Mike.
Did you see on Sunday there wasn't a cloud in the sky?
Yeah, and 10 days ago, we had like 1.75 inches of rain or some crazy thing like that here where I live.
Yeah, everything's fucked up with the weather.
Like, yeah, it's like damn near the record for like precipitation here. It was really close. Like, you know, records that have been set for like 100 years. We had a lot of rain. But yeah, I appreciate it. You know, in the forecast for the next week or so looks prosperous. It looks good. I mean, you know, it looks like we might get a break from the rain. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, you know what they say? They say the bluest skies are in Seattle. And I'm telling you today, the blue sky was like this robin eggs blue color. It was just beautiful.
It was beautiful. I did want to talk about a few things that you'd already talked about earlier in the program.
Mm-hmm.
And about this thing with whatever happened on January 6th, 2021. It's just been greatly exaggerated.
Yeah.
And for the benefit of whom? That's the question that I think everyone has to ask: is who benefits from like exaggerating what actually happened? I mean,
The good question. That's a really good
a
question.
demonstrator was murdered.
Right.
One of the demonstrators was murdered, shot, and and shit like that happens. But I'm just saying, like, other than that, I don't really see it as being incredibly significant, like as significant as they're playing it out in the media. So the immediate question is who benefits from exaggerating what actually happened?
And censoring it, because the social media have censored a lot about that particular event, and
and I saw Senator Cruz's questions. I know that others are aware of the questioning, and frankly, I think he's right. I think the assistant director of the FBI or whatever, when directly asked a question in congressional hearings, should address the fact that, like, yeah, there were FBI fucking agents involved in the organizing of the event, on the ground on the event, encouraging people to...
Let's go to the Capitol. Let's take our country back.
Yeah.
Those were the FBI agents. Those were the local police from Seattle Police Department, from police departments around the world. Yeah, let's go take our country back. I'm telling you, that's what was going on with the FBI and the fucking police in the fucking protests. Go ahead.
That is true, Mike. And the funniest thing about this is, and it's the most, I think, one of the most sad, disgusting things about this whole thing, is this same shit was happening to anarchists and to activists from the left for like the last fucking 10 or 15 years, right? We're like after Occupy Wall Street, groups, anarchists on the left were infiltrated by federal agents who did things like brought bomb-making materials, told people where to blow shit up, drove people to places, gave people money, and put it all under the label of like leftist insurrectionist busted by FBI. And they did the same shit in Michigan recently with the
kidnapping plot. The kidnapping plot.
Yeah, assassination plot of the governor, or whatever the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
Kidnapping the governor.
Yeah, the government, the FBI used taxpayer funds to go out and put together this crew of people to train them, to give them all the supplies they need, set them up in hotels, buy them food, and help them work out a plan to kidnap the governor of Michigan. And then they come in and bust them, and they go, "Oh, look, we caught these terrorists."
Yeah, and this shit has been happening like forever. It happened in the peace movement in the 2000s. It happened in the anti-globalization movement 5 years earlier. It happened in the anti-nuclear movement. It happened in the eco-environmental movement in the 1990s. I mean, this is like standard fucking operating procedure.
Yeah.
Right? When you have and you set people up and you exaggerate the significance of what the fuck is going on.
Right.
And there's a lot of examples from the left. But the odd thing is the left is like, and I mean, I don't say this proudly or anything, right? I mean, and it isn't even the real left, right?
Yeah.
It isn't socialist or communist or anarchist or even, it isn't libertarians from the right either. These are like mainstream pundits in mainstream culture promoting this idea that the left is like, or corrupted, or the far right is corrupted, when in fact it's the center that holds the power. Right? It's the duopoly. It's Mitch McConnell and AOC.
Yeah. Together,
they have the power, right? And they want to prevent anybody with a different voice out of the system of like, it's fucking fascism, dude.
Yeah.
And, Mike, I've been reading recently like about this book called KL, which was about the concentration camps in Germany, like the very first one, Dachau, was created in 1933. The very first people who got sent to that concentration camp, the Jews really weren't persecuted in the sense of like extermination camps and mass roundups of everyone. They were racially discriminated against from the very beginning But it wasn't like, most of the people in jail were like socialists. They were
Yeah.
like people who were considered like asocial personalities.
Homosexuals.
Which means they were unemployed, Mike. They took the vagrants and put them in jail.
Yeah.
They put the socialists, the trade unionists went to jail. Religious people went to jail. Like anybody who opposed the government went to jail.
Right.
Kind of like those were the people who went to jail. Not like it wasn't like the Holocaust until like 1942. But for the first 10 years, this is like a totalitarian state. And that's the real significance of Nazi Germany. Not that the Holocaust is what became of the whole fucking culture before the Holocaust even happened.
Yeah.
That's the significance. That's what's going on, man. Everybody with a different voice.
The goose step. Everybody falling in line and goose stepping all together off a cliff, basically.
And I'm really disappointed in some of my heroes, by the way. Like Ralph Nader is an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always have greatest respect for Ralph Nader because, he fought the car companies, he fought like the nuclear power companies, he fought the chemical companies. He's always been, principally against war. Lots of good things. He's a civil libertarian. He's a fucking lawyer. Like, he's a person I respect.
Yeah.
Ralph Nader, right?
Yeah.
But, like, when Ralph Nader bitches about corporate power, he hasn't said a word about Pfizer or Moderna or big pharmaceutical companies in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I went and looked through every single article that he's published, like at Common Dreams, which is a site that he publishes his weekly article at. In the last 75 articles or 2 years of Ralph Nader posting his thoughts, commentary, not a word about Pfizer and the 1,600 lobbyists they have in Washington, D.C., which is 3 lobbyists for every congressman and senator in Washington is like represented by the pharmaceutical lobby. But Ralph Nader, the champion of like against corporations, doesn't have a word to say about this in 2 fucking years. It's really weird, Mike.
I think I don't know, but I mean I question at this point, in his career, if maybe money is a really important factor, and he sees himself alienating a big chunk of his audience if he starts going against this whole
And another person, Mike, I saw today broke my fucking heart is Ali Abunimah, who writes for he's a person who's written about Palestinian rights in Israel for like 20 years. He writes for a website called AI, and it's like right there. It's cutting edge, and he's always like on point about Israeli crimes and discrimination against Arabs and Palestinians in Israel. And I listened to him today give a 10-minute spiel about anybody critical of the COVID narrative is a conspiracy theorist or a quack. And he was, he's a pretty fucking smart person, Mike. He does more research on Palestine than anyone else. But then it all struck me. It's like, of course he's not going to say anything about his friends that's negative. And if they've accepted a narrative, he's not going to question the narrative too much.
Right.
Noam Chomsky's gotten in a lot of trouble. Then he didn't get in trouble. He was asked a question in Florida, like in 2010 or 2011. Somebody from the audience in the University of Florida said, "Hey, Noam Chomsky, what's your problem with 9/11, and why don't you talk about 9/11 truth and architects and engineers for truth? What's your problem with this?" They addressed him in a question and answer, and his response was, "I don't really take this shit seriously, and what happened in the world happened, and it's just like this is a fucking rat hole that goes nowhere, so it's a waste of my time." This is like supposed to be the premier academic in the Western Hemisphere saying that he's not even going to take the fucking time to look at evidence presented to him that 9/11 wasn't what it really was.
Yeah, right? Not just evidence, science. Real mathematical science.
Yeah, arguments that people have put together that make fucking sense, all kinds of things. And he's just going to ignore it because he doesn't think it fucking matters, And this thing with COVID that just happened 2 years ago, it's a culmination of shit that's been happening in America pretty much, I think, for at least 20, some people say 40, Other people say 75 years, Mike. And some of the things you said at the very beginning about speech and free speech, and this is free and shit like America. Well, remember, like in the 1950s, 1949, Mike, anybody who supported or even said that Marx or communism might be an alternative to what we're experiencing, they lost their jobs.
Yeah.
They couldn't write an article in a newspaper. Their kids were discriminated against. They were treated like second-class citizens and basically like forced to not think what they were learning or thought. So a whole generation of people were not allowed to express those ideas. So this idea that free speech is something sacred, and also like the drug war in the 60s, Mike, anybody who says like, hey, smoke a joint, like in 1965, probably wasn't like the most popular person on the block, right? You probably couldn't just say that, right? And on and on, civil rights, people's attitudes towards gay people, all of those things, people's attitudes towards sexuality, all of those things have changed. And if you were to say something today, 40 years ago, you wouldn't have that right of free speech. Just saying, that like this is all culminated where there's kind of a backlash to like expressing yourself or thinking, And I'm not surprised that Newsmax is who gave you the strike either.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the right. Like, it's from the right. Like, what the fuck is that about?
Oh, I cannot publish a fucking MSNBC story without getting a copyright strike. So I quit publishing their shit like 3 years ago, dude. It just became impossible.
Yeah. So there's this heavy cloud that hangs over every discussion, and I recognize that it limits what you wish you could do or can do, or what many of us can or wish we could do.
Well, I can do lots of things. It's just it's gonna have a negative effect on what I'll be able to do tomorrow. That's all. So I like to be able to continue doing. I like that. I want to still give this a chance, I want to start a conversation. It's not so much I want to start a conversation as I want to have a real conversation about freedom and where not even this country is going, but this entire civilization. Because the entire civilization is headed straight off a motherfucking cliff. And
you made a good point earlier, Mike.
Yeah.
Earlier in the program, you said, like, why not just have the government take over Facebook and Google, Alphabet, YouTube, and provide a platform to people, and that in fact, like, I mean, how could you have any less fucking freedom than you have right now to express yourself, right? Like, this corporate model of totalitarianism is really working and is great. Like, capitalism is good for you. And also think about all the other expenses that the ordinary person pays. Like fucking Comcast. Like, Comcast isn't a scam.
Right.
I mean, you don't think that like the government shouldn't be providing us with electricity and with internet service and with clean water? And that should just be like a given. Like, why is anybody profiting off of electricity lines, off of water lines, or off of internet lines like Comcast?
Yeah.
And in terms of content providers, it's the same. Like, why is Alphabet, like, or Apple the most valued companies in the world? It's because they profit off of that stream, of controlling that stream of information. Take the fucking profit out of it, and you would be able to provide people with internet like for the next fucking 500 years.
Yeah. The whole world. Yeah.
The whole world. So just, I realize that like one of the things that I think is wrong is that people associate freedom with economic opportunity. In other words, freedom of speech should not be tied to how much money you have, and that anybody in a society, in this society, should have the right to speak their mind. Unfortunately, as we know, that isn't true, Mike. Like, if you get charged with a crime, you only can get out of that crime if you can afford to purchase a lawyer to represent you in a court.
Right. Not just any lawyer. You have to be able to afford a proper lawyer. So we're clear.
Who can win.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and therefore, like, if you can't afford, if you don't have the luxury to purchase that right, you're going to experience the wrath of going to jail.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. So this idea that we're fucking free is somewhat of an illusion. But I think what's happening is that our rights are being taken away from us, and it's becoming real fucking noticeable to people. You either comply or you are not going to be able to work anymore. And yes, this is about the mandates that are being required for people, and it's going to become more extreme. And it's really a moral question, I think. Are you going to force people to comply with your version of reality? And if and that's the question, red pill or blue pill? And, I'm going to split on that note. I'm glad that you're on the air, Mike, and it's good to hear your voice tonight. So, on that note.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you called because I've been thinking about you and hoping that you're doing well. So,
Yeah, it's a slow time. I might have a chance to, I don't know, I have to flesh it out, but I might have a chance to go to California for 2 weeks or so to work on some initiative campaigns, gathering signatures.
Where in California?
I might have to flesh the details out, but...
You don't know where in California?
It'd be in San Francisco. But it would be like a transition for like 2 or 3 weeks just to experience different reality and, do something constructive. Because it's just raining, Mike. Nothing's growing in anybody's yard. No rhododendrons are flourishing right now.
Well, I think there's a lot of planting going on, isn't there?
Not for another month and a half even.
I see people.
It's going to rain.
I see people out planting shrubs and stuff.
Yeah, no, a lot of people, some people are deadheading, they're taking dead vegetation out of their yards, but, if the yard's been maintained well, grass doesn't really grow unless it's 50 degrees out, Mike.
Oh, yeah.
So if the pardon?
I said, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so if the temperature stays below 50 degrees for the high, it means most vegetation in the yard, most vegetation is going to grow really slowly. So it'd be, whatever, an opportunity for a landscaper like myself to split for 2 or 3 weeks. And maybe I'll take it. I'll have to explore the options. One of them being, can I get on a fucking airplane without, what does it take to get on a domestic airplane? And I've looked at, I've asked this question, like Siri or Alexa, answer this question. And I get, different answers. Tell me the answer to this question in the last 2 days. And it's like, some airlines say you have to get tested. Other airlines say you don't. I'm not really sure,
That sounds like a problem, yeah.
Yeah, it could be a problem. Fortunately, there aren't mandated vaccines to fly domestically yet, from what I understand. Although the president wants to do that.
Well, the Supreme Court just overturned Biden's mandate today. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did. Yeah. That was good news.
It seems like good news. So if you go to California and you have any free time at all, I know you like the outdoors, there's 2 spots that are definitely worth your time. Yosemite, have you ever been to Yosemite?
I haven't, but that would be a possibility.
Yosemite is freaking amazing. It might be too much snow to get there right now, but just south of San Francisco is Big Sur. Have you been there? Big Sur?
No, and that's another place that I would like to go. And also, I know where Salinas is, right? Monterey Bay. That isn't very far either, right, from San Francisco.
Yeah, Monterey's about 20 miles north of Big Sur. Big Sur has the giant redwoods, and it's fucking amazing. So if you get a chance.
Anyway, I'm not certain, so I have to flesh some things out, but it's becoming a possibility, and so I think I might do that if I don't have to. I don't know. It's this COVID thing. I can figure that out. Like one obstacle I have. But anyway, like I said, it's good to talk.
Well, the train is probably an option if you're I like traveling by the train. It's
I would hitchhike if I couldn't get an airplane, and I think I might consider that as an option because that's one of my preferred ways of traveling.
The weather's too fucked up, right? The weather's too fucked up to hitchhike, dude.
If I have time, that would be an alternative, and there's other alternatives as well. But anyway, I'm doing well, Mike. All said and done, I've just been doing a lot of reading, and like I said, one of the things that's unsettling to me is reading people that I trust, like, I mean, I've read them for 20 years, and
Yeah.
I know how informed they are
Yeah.
about their subject matter. Like, for example, Ali Abanima, in his like steadfast support of Palestinian rights, he's Palestinian, Arab American. You know, I understand, and also Richard Wolff, an economist that I appreciate. Same story. There's others, Ralph Nader.
Yeah, but Richard
These are-
Wolff became a fucking, lackey for whoever it is that he's a lackey for a long time ago. I don't know before.
He's a professor of Marxism. He's a Marxist professor.
Mm.
He kind of has a little bit of a YouTube presence. He has a Democracy at Work is his website.
Huh.
But anyway, he's an interesting character. But I trust his opinion about many things, and he is against mandates, by the way, for vaccinations. He doesn't believe workers should be forced to be vaccinated because
Yeah.
of workers' rights. But he's way more accepting of the COVID narrative than I am, and so I disagree with him on a lot of things. And Ralph Nader is the same. Like, I don't fucking understand a person who spent his life fighting corporations and fighting corporate power and being pretty on point about many things.
Yeah.
Would just not look at like RFK Jr.'s book about Robert Fauci, that he wouldn't look, about Tony Fauci, that he would look closely at people's criticisms of Big Pharma and
Yeah.
its relation to the COVID crisis. I just find that to be like a glaring black hole for Ralph Nader, and that bothers me, that people I respect, it leads me to believe that they get funding and they want to be published in these mainstream journals like The Nation magazine and stuff, that they're willing to like not look at the evidence so that they can continue to have a career. That's what it leads me to believe.
The stuff with Noam Chomsky, like you were saying, I remember when that happened, and it is heartbreaking, dude. It's just like, because it's not just a matter of, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, oh yeah, that leads down the rabbit hole, blah, 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 which I understand that. I talk about, certain things will lead down rabbit holes that I don't want to go down too. 9/11 is not one of them. 9/11 changed everything, and it affected everyone, meaning everybody should be talking about it.
Yeah, 9/11, the 2008-2009 crash, and COVID-19. Those are the three, and the war in Iraq. Those are the 3 or 4 huge events in the last 20 years that anybody should be looking at super fucking closely. Why did the economy crash? Why did those buildings go down? Why did we go to war? Why did this crisis with this plague happen? What are the reasons behind all those things? Those are legitimate questions.
Those are very important questions. How can they not be being asked? How can we not need the answers to these things?
Well, the best that we can do is continue looking for the answers ourselves as individuals, and it's a hard task, because a lot of the information we're receiving is just straight up corporate state propaganda. And that's the problem. And that's why venues like Mox News are so important, Mike, is to deconstruct the propaganda so that others can see the discrepancies in their lives. And that's something you do very well. And I hope that, when times are better or whatnot, that you have a chance to do that.
Yeah, I think that Mox News could be very important. I mean, it has been back in the day. It was certainly important to lots of people. But I think if we could have a conversation, like I keep saying that I want to be making happen here. If we could, and I'm telling you, if I could go somewhere and buy viewers to come and watch the show for 10 minutes, I would go and spend money on that. There's not an option like that. I would like to have people here that are interested and want to talk, and then I think we would all be doing something of value just by being here and participating in what's going on, whether it be in the chat room or whether just viewing, because you might see something and then you'll go and share it with somebody else tomorrow. And that's what really matters, is that we have this conversation and it grows and it grows and it grows. Go ahead.
There's one other thing about that KL. There's a book called KL, and it's about the concentration camps in Germany between 1933 and 1945. It's broken like into 3 sections. And this is, I've been reading from this book in the last few days. And the thing that I don't think is being emphasized, that is also a part of like what happened in Germany in the 1930s, is the war on the poor, right?
Yeah.
So literally, like, vagrants were some of the first people to go to jail. They'd round up homeless men about 30 years old and put them in labor camps. And in those labor camps, they'd do menial tasks and be under the supervision of like cops, like prison, like work camps, right? Those were the foundation of the concentration camps.
I see, in our own society, I see that there's very little sympathy for the homeless and the, people that are on the street needing help more than any of the rest of us. There's very little sympathy for them.
So when I look at like commentary, like on libertarian websites, like Academy of Ideas is a YouTube channel that I go to occasionally, and there was a Jordan Peterson, he's like a popular person on the right, and he gave a spiel, and I read the comments, and these are like educated people, making comments about a video that they watched, and the amount of vitriol and hatred projected towards people who they say like hold your own weight and you're sinking.
Yeah.
Oh well. Like,
right.
That kind of callous attitude to the poor. Like I got mine and fuck you.
It's all your life decisions that led you here.
Yeah, and they're really mean towards them. But then when I go like.
And by the way, you mean life decisions like signing up for the military and getting shipped off to Iraq to see the most horrendous fucking shit anyone in the history of humans has ever seen, and then come home and expect just to be fucking normal? You mean like that kind of fucking picking themselves up by their fucking bootstraps? You mean that kind of fucking life choices that led them to being homeless and having to live on the fucking streets? Those kind of life choices? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it is. That kind of callousness towards other human beings and their experience. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So I see that on these websites that talk about liberty in the sense of libertarianism in an extreme form. But then I also see when I go to The Stranger, right? The Stranger fucking magazine in Seattle, their website, which is a liberal kind of like, very, pro-establishment in a way, counterculture kind of literary magazine, and I read their comments about the poor in Seattle and their callous attitude toward the homeless people in their city. And these are not Republicans at all.
Yeah, no, this is the woke Democrats. Crowd.
So I see the exact same attitude from the woke crowd as I see from the pro-business right, and they all hate the poor, Mike.
Because the poor are easy to hate on. They got no defense. They're just there, and there's like, it's like, oh yay, more shit piled on top of me, just what I needed.
So between 1933 and 1937, a big chunk of people in the prisons in Germany were asocial people and vagrants, which means they were German nationals who were the unemployed and the downtrodden, and maybe they had some political views, but they all just kind of got gathered up by the police and sent off to labor camps, which became the foundation of concentration camps. And when I look at America, I don't see much of a difference between the way the right and the left hates the poor. And that is troubling to me because it means we've lost our fucking moral conscience, Mike. So, we don't have a compass, right? There's no moral compass anymore. Yeah,
I think it's true. It's people think that they have a moral compass because I'd stay out of trouble. I don't do this. That's you inflicting your morals onto you or your parents or whoever. Your moral, like what you're saying, is actually caring about something more than yourself.
Yeah, for the good of all. Your neighbors, for Christ's sake, the people around you. And you know, and
Which
and
I just want to
comment.
say also that these people that are all complaining about the homeless thing, right? If you pick them up, that you could get rid of the majority of the homeless by picking them up and helping them find better lives. But if you continue down this road where, you know, just fuck those people, you're always going to have that. And if you pick them up, then this neighborhood which you live in, which you can't stand, has fucking RVs on it and help them, and then you won't have that issue. It's so simple. How can you be so about you, so fucking blinded by your own reflection that you can't see this fucking incredibly simple answer?
Well, maybe because when they're at work, they're in a competitive environment.
I think that's
where
true.
They have to think like, where if I do this and I kiss the boss's ass and I do this task this many seconds faster than I need to, or I solve this problem faster than the next person, I will get rewarded with status and get a go ahead. Therefore, I'm going to focus all of my energy on that. It's getting ahead. Because that's how I can help. But then they lie to themselves by saying, by getting ahead, then I'll be able to help other people. But it's always like in the future, as they're in the moment, just thinking about getting ahead. And that's a mindset that revolves around greed, kind of.
Yeah.
And that's part of our whole culture. So it's real easy. And then the other thing is, it's easy to fucking hate the homeless people when you're one step away from being homeless, because you hate the thing that you never want to be.
Yeah.
So when you drive down the street and you see a homeless person and your kid's in the car and you're one paycheck away from being homeless yourself, it's so easy to turn the other way and say, I don't want to look at that because it's just so close to my reality.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We're not going to talk about this.
Yeah. And it's not just even that when you're talking about moving up the ladder and trying to do the right thing. It's that when you're in this work type environment, you know, there's like this, I want to fit in, you know, I don't want to be the you know, broken tooth in the clog or whatever. I want to be a good clog. And so when this conversation comes up about homeless, you know, it's like, oh, I don't want to say anything other than what, you know, everybody's saying here. And on top of that, it's easy to hate on the homeless. So, you know, it's just, you know, this is the problem. It's like, at the beginning of the show, I was saying, you know, I don't want to be something else. I don't want to be a different person. I don't want, you know, to have a different life. This is the life that I've made, and I like it. I like this life, you know, regardless of where it goes from here. You know, I like where it's been up to this point, and I don't want something different. So, but if you can only do that if you're like this independent person who doesn't really care about what other people are saying. I want to be me. I want to be who I am. Okay? I don't, you know, I don't care if I fit in or not. What I care about is that I don't change who I am. Go ahead.
Well, I think that's human nature, Mike. Just innately human beings, monkeys, us.
You don't think it's some kind of programming, like, you know, oh yeah, there's a lot of programming that goes along with it, dude. I'm pretty sure that because
what I
ahead.
mean by that is like there was a lot of propaganda that went on in the United States in the 1950s about socialism and market. I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
Like every movie, every television, every radio was telling Americans that the way that Russians were living was bad and evil and not productive and bad. I mean, everything in the media for 20 years was like this. People couldn't make movies, they couldn't write, they couldn't express themselves in books. I mean, for years this went on.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But there's this idea that, like, earlier, like, say like we take all the companies, the large companies, like multinational corporations that run our lives, and nationalize them and provided these services as utilities to people. You know, some could argue, well, then your freedom would be abridged because you couldn't do what you wanted to do. And I think that's a false argument, Mike. Just just because
Yeah.
what you can't do everything you want to do right now if you're poor. 70% of the American public is like in the middle class or the lower middle class. They're poor. So therefore, most Americans already cannot do what they want to do. And if you lifted things like let their kids go to college, let them have internet access, let them have social platforms that aren't censored, where they can say fuck a million times in a row and nobody cares, and so on and so forth.
That sounds like a good idea. I'm going to go make that video. Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, how could that be so? How is that so horrible? All right. So then you say, well, if the government controlled the pharmaceutical companies, then we made our own farm. They could force people to have vaccines. Well, they're forcing people to have private vaccinations right now, made by private pharmaceutical companies that are running the government.
Yeah.
How is that better than if and also like real democracy? How can you have real democracy when basically you can buy an election? When you can buy an election, it means the richest people win the election. There's studies and stuff about this, where like elections aren't determined by like what the people want. The people want to have all drugs decriminalized in the United States. The people want Medicare for all. Does that fucking matter? No, it doesn't. Because the people who can purchase politicians buy politicians. So you can't have real freedom and democracy in a country where the people who have the power purchase what they want for their own economic interests. It's so clear, man. I think it's clear.
Yeah, I think it's clear too. I see just corruption everywhere, and the corruption leads to the chipping away at our freedom. So it's messed
here's
up.
The freedom, Mike. Here's my LaCroix sparkling water to you and freedom, and I'm going to listen to some other callers. I know.
Okay, me too. I'll talk to you soon. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, have a good night, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks. Peace.
Okay, so we were talking there about conformity and, everybody hating on the same group or kind of getting in this kind of, group mindset, right? Group think. And I think that, not only is it that you want to be accepted and that you want to move yourself up move yourself wherever there is, parties or whatever there is, right? And that if you it's beyond that. I think it's much more than that. I think that there's a danger to you from not being part of the social norms, from not trying to fit in. It's like you can be arrested because you eat mushrooms, and mushrooms are illegal, even though it's a natural thing that half of the homes in the Northwest have growing in their fucking front yard. Completely natural thing. You can go to jail for this. So it's like a lot of people will never use marijuana just because where they come from. It's this social norm thing, and now what I'm getting to is it being dangerous, right? It can be dangerous because let me use a Saturday Night Live sketch. This is probably my favorite Saturday Night Live sketch of all time, right? And it has Steve Martin in it, and I can't remember if it has John Belushi or not. It's one of the early Steve Martin appearances, right? So it has Steve Martin, and I think it's Belushi and Aykroyd. I remember Lorraine Newman for sure. I'll get to that in a minute. But it's these cavemen, right? They're all cavemen, and they're all like in loincloths and shit, and they're discussing the hunt for tomorrow, how they're going to catch the antelope tomorrow, right? And the cavemen are saying, okay, well, we all line up in this line like this, right? And then when the antelope come, we all chase after the antelope, right? And Steve Martin, he's like sitting in the background eating a banana, right? He walks over and he says, how about instead of all standing in a straight line, we surround the antelope so that the antelope can't get away, right? Isn't that a good idea? And they're all like, roar, roar, roar. That's a good idea. And then everybody went to bed for the night, And this is a Saturday Night Live sketch. Oh wait, Steve Martin does the thing where he says, "Okay, so we can surround the antelope, and it will actually be beneficial to us, right?" And the cavemen are like, "Urgh," and he's walking over to go to bed, right? And Lorraine Newman's standing there in her loincloth, and she looks at him, or he says hi to her or whatever, and she says, "You make me wet." Just like, yes. So, which I can't imagine words that I would like to hear more from a woman's mouth than "you make me wet." That being said, so Steve Martin says, instead of all forming in a straight line and charging the antelope, we'll surround the antelope, and then it won't be able to get away. And they're like, "Oh, this makes so much sense." And then they all go to bed at night, and then I don't know, whoever the leader of the group was, he comes over to Steve Martin while he's sleeping, and he picks up a big rock like this, and he smashes his skull, right? And that's what I'm saying about not fitting in being dangerous, right? You actually get the attention of these people that are like Neanderthals, right? And these Neanderthalish type people, when you're not, fitting in, going along with what we're supposed to be doing, people see that as a threat. You can take my word for it. I will guarantee you, I have experienced this again and again and again from very early on. So if you don't fit in, you can be considered a threat. And I have always loved that Saturday Night Live sketch. It's my favorite. It's like I said, it's one of the earliest appearances from Steve Martin. You can go and look it up. I'm certain all of the Saturday Night Lives of all time are online. So you should be able to look up that one. And it's such a good, I think it's my favorite one I've ever seen on Saturday Night Live. Thinking thing. It's not all that funny except for the "you make me wet" part. Okay, where were we going with this? So as I was saying, it's dangerous to be your own person. It's dangerous to not fit in. You get the attention of people who you make uncomfortable, and that discomfort can express itself in very violent ways. So you put yourself into, by not fitting in, by not going along with the group think, you do put yourself in somewhat of a precarious position in a number of different ways. And I think that most people probably aren't so much willing to do that. And this may be the reason that we don't see the fighting for freedom. This may be the reason that the people aren't standing up against this comply or die police state that grows and grows every day. Occupy should have been, it was giant. It spread around the world. It lasted for over a year. There was encampments around the world for over a year. It should have been like 100 times bigger, and then if it was 100 times bigger, I can guarantee that it would have grown and grown even more. So, because again, it would be this acceptable thing to do, where it's like, hey, some of these, and those voices would be getting out more, which is why we do this, why we reach out to try and say, hey, do you have a voice? Did you want to use it? Because I think it's important to do so. As the Steve Martin sketch expresses, this is the way we should be doing things. This is how, we should be having freedom. We should be, I talk about this a lot, about people being forced this direction. They want you to have this tunnel vision, which is one of the most dangerous things about screen time. But they want you to have this tunnel vision instead of seeing that you have the ability to go any direction you want. They want you in this almost zombified state where you go this way to work and then you get to work and you park in this parking spot, and then you go this way home, and then you go home and you have this meal and you watch this TV show, and that's the life that the powers that be want you to have. This isn't the life that you're meant to have. You are the big-brained, upright walking, opposable thumb, tippy top of the food chain. You have been designed on this planet to be able to make happen almost anything you can imagine. And it's beat out of us. It's worked out of us. It's pounded. We're pounded and pounded and pounded until this, multi-shaped, beautiful being fits into this square peg just right. And I'm talking about from a very early age, you're molded and molded and molded. Instead of, let's see where this guy goes. Let's see who he becomes, It's like, no, you have to do things this way. How many kids are told, no, you have to do it this way? Right? And, again, this expression of yourself, really, who are you again? This expression of yourself, this expression of, I don't want to do it that way. From what your authority figure, parent, your teacher, your whatever, what you get is, punished. However it is that you might be punished, possibly ridiculed on top of that. And I think most people can only take so much of that until they begin to fall into line, because they don't want to be ridiculed and punished over and over again. I don't know. I guess most people wise up in life at a certain point and go, yeah, I don't want to be punished anymore. I don't want to not, I don't want to not be able to, I don't know, whatever. And it totally, again, it's this programming. It's not by accident. It's not by, it's not by, this is what's best for you over the years and years and years of decades and centuries and millennium of human existence. What we found is the best thing is to mold you into this square peg so that we can fit you into this square hole, and you can be in the same square hole as all the other square pegs. I don't see, I could be wrong. I just don't see that being the evidence that that's what's led us, the natural, most intelligent form of evolution to where everybody needs to be in a square peg. It doesn't make sense for a self-aware, intelligent community to everybody have to fit in place. Because if we were a self-aware, intelligent community, we would understand that everybody has so much more to offer than this fucking square peg bullshit. Everybody. And everybody, I don't say everybody could be included, but so many more people could be included if there was genuine freedom. If from the beginning, when you start going to school, it's like, you were encouraged to express yourself independently and then explain why it is you want to express yourself in this way as opposed to this norm that we all that people tend to accept as the standard way of life. And then you'd have this kid and he'd be like, well, this, and for me, I have to be this way. It's just like with homosexuals. That's what they say, right? I have to be this way. That's how we all are. We're all these individuals, and it's beat out of us. And that's how our society got here. That's how this ever-expanding comply-or-die police state got put into place by everyone having to conform to this social norm that we all agree upon is the way things should be. And if you don't make yourself into a square peg, we'll find a deep, dark hole to put you in so that you don't fuck with society, so that you don't fuck with our goose stepping off the edge. Or all of us are lined up to goose step right off the edge of this planet. And we don't want you messing with that. Which is my honor to do each and every chance I get. Because fuck social norms, okay? Live your life. I don't blame you for wanting to fit in. It's not easy to act like it doesn't matter when people are talking shit about you, because a lot of people are going to talk shit about you. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people, because you want to have your own opinion. You want to go your own way. You want to act like you don't have to function the same way everyone else does. So yeah, we're going to talk shit about you. You can count on it. Again, this other thing. This is this thing where it's dangerous to be an individual. It's uncomfortable to be an individual, and it's I don't want to say it's beyond most people's ability, because as I've said, you can make happen almost anything you can imagine. That's your place in this world. Almost anything you can imagine you could make happen, one way or another. So, if nothing else, I hope that you kind of get that message. Don't let anybody hold you down because who you are, as an individual expression, like Steve McClanahan, right? I don't hold Steve McClanahan down because he's this unique, fucked up individual, right? And I like that. I like unique people. Because that's what it's meant to be. That's what we all are. It's not so much what we're meant to be as what we all are. So you should grasp a hold of that as much as you can and be that unique individual, right? You don't have to go and figure out what the latest fashion is. And you know why you don't need to know what the latest fashion is? Because the latest fashion is 12 months behind what all the cool people are wearing. So you don't need the latest fashion. What you need is what fits you as an individual. And that's the truth. So good luck with that. It's not an easy thing to accomplish, although it should be the simplest thing in the world. You should know who you are by the time you get out of kindergarten. Like I said, kindergarten should be about you going into this structured environment and then finding your way to be this individual. Not, nope, it has to be done this way. Nope, it has to be done this way. More like, why do you keep doing it this other way? As if it's interesting. It's something that we want to find out. What's in this kid's head, what's in his heart, where he's coming from. And from kindergarten, the whole kindergarten should be all about finding out who you are, bringing out that personality, because as you get older and older, right, it becomes this, I want to fit in. You see this in junior high school and high school. People want to fit in desperately, and again, I understand why, because it's dangerous not to fit in. If you're not fit in, somebody's going to bully you. if not multiple people. Other people are going to laugh at you because you're different, and that makes them nervous. Laughter is often a nervous reaction, so you know. But kindergarten, if we, you get them while they're early, right? If in kindergarten, the entire year of kindergarten school was all about finding out the things about you that are unique to you, and trying to help you expand on those things so that you could get comfortable in being who you are. You know why it's not about that? Because nobody wants you comfortable being a unique expression. They want you uncomfortable. They want people looking at you like you're weird. That's what they want. Even in school. Like I said, you get them while they're young. If you don't do this thing in kindergarten, why don't you? Because you don't want them to be unique individuals' expressions of this amazing life form, humans. You don't want that. You want this thing where we're all moving together, in this hypnotic transform kind of way. How's that working out for you, by the way? I hope well. I really do. I hope it's you and yours are doing just fine. I really do, because I'm telling you, some of my neighbors, I talk to a lot of my neighbors, a lot of my neighbors, and I can tell you some of them look and tell me that they don't know how much more of this stuff they can take. They're just hiding and sad and worried about their kids, and they can't seem to break out of these depressions, and they fight, and it's incredibly difficult. So I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're enjoying whatever there is to enjoy, because one of the guarantees of this life form on this planet is that it's like there are certain laws, like for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, stuff like that, and one of the rules, like change, change is this rule where it's always going to happen, right? And where was I going? What was the other one? Anyways, I can't remember where I was going. Sorry about that. But change and humor, that was it. So there's always something in front of you to enjoy, right? This is like one of the rules, right? Change is one of the rules. There's always going to be something new. There's always going to be something new, which is important to understand. You don't have to be in this rut every day. Change is happening all around you, all the time, every second of every day. And all you have to do is step out of this rut, and you can get swept up in the change, and you can try and direct yourself the way you want to go. I highly recommend it. Although again, it's not an easy sale. And one of the other rules, laws of this kind of existence here on Earth as a human, is that there's always something right in front of you to enjoy. Whatever that is, whether it's a sunset, a beautiful flower, a nice plate of food, a good friend, something right there, almost like 99+% of the time. It's like this guaranteed thing. It's like change. For every action there's equal and opposite reaction. And the problem is that again, people have this tunnel vision. So they're not able to look over here and go, hey, look, there is something for me to enjoy. Or over here, and this tunnel vision, what it does to you, besides making you miss out on things that there are to enjoy, it makes it this overwhelming experience. because you're not taking a minute. You're constantly bombarded by this baggage that's carried around and in this rut that you can't get out of, but you can. Don't let anybody tell you can't, because you're strong enough to make it happen. And the truth is that you're strong enough to fight to make your dreams happen. So what it is that you really want to be making happen, if it's what's in your heart, you want to follow that dream. You want to do everything in your power to make it happen, because you can, because you have the power to make it happen. If it's something, if it's like what you truly want. A lot of people say, oh, I want this, and then they find out that that's not something they want. And generally, something like a car or, computer or whatever it is, phone. These things aren't going to give you what it is that I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I want my life to be different in this way. It's not, I want this thing. This is a big mistake that people make. They go, once I get this thing, then my life's going to be completely different. Once I get my husband, once I own my own home, once I get my new car, my life's going to be completely different. And for most people, I don't think that's the way it is. Because things won't make that happen. Only you can make that happen. A new car isn't going to come into your life and go, oh, look, we can go over there, we can go over here. It's you that makes that happen, not the car. So, if you want to get out of your life, out of your rut, if you want to be a more genuine expression of you, if you want to be making this thing happen that you've always wanted to make happen, the reason that you have that feeling, that desire, that desire to make this thing happen for years and years and years, and it's never changed. This is what I want to make happen. You have that ability, and I hope that you know that, and I hope that you practice that ability as much as possible, because that's how you become an individual, by making the things happen in your life that you really want to be making happen. I don't know. I don't have much more to say about that at this time. I'm quite sure I'll have a whole lot more to say about it in the not too distant future. So, since we don't have any callers and my tea is now cold, I have a show scheduled for Tuesday. Do I have a show scheduled for Tuesday? If I don't have a show scheduled for Tuesday, I will schedule a show for Tuesday. And if anybody has, ideas for, topics for a show, maybe that's what the show on Tuesday, a topic of the show on Tuesday will be, does anyone have any topics for the show? My brain is fucked, and I wouldn't change a thing. So Tuesday, we'll find out if anybody has any interesting topics for future episodes of Mox Talks. So thanks so much for tuning in. We do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which means we'll be back next Tuesday with our 420th episode of Mox Talks, in which we're going to discuss, what was it? I forget. I'll figure it out. I'll remember. Just tune in Tuesday. Oh, I know. What topics do you think we should have for future episodes of Mox Talks? And thanks so much for tuning in this evening. I hope we see you on Tuesday. Until then, stay cool, because one of these days this war is gonna end. Stay cool till then.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years.
I forgot to do a bong hit. Thank you for reminding me, Jackie. Now, one of the reasons that I come out here is to share a nice puff with you all. And somehow, I seem to, I haven't had a puff all night, all day. And then I'm like, oh, wait, Jackie Cat said puff. And I was like, 420. Yeah, 420. What were you thinking, boy? I'm telling you, I haven't had a puff all day. So I'm going to do that now with who's ever left, so that we do the things that we do here at Mox News. One of which is have a conversation, and the other is to have a nice fat puff with all our wonderful viewers. So if you're still here, heat up those bongs, get ready. You know what? And the thing is I had a fat puff ready to go before I started the show. And then I got all heated about being an individual, like, freedom! And I forgot to have, I don't know how I forgot to have a puff with you, but we will rectify that situation right now. Again, Tuesday will be the 420th episode of Mox Talks. I hope we see you there. And until then, I hope that you enjoy having a fat puff with you and yours until then, because that's really one of the big things about cannabis, is it's meant to be shared with everyone. Meant to be shared. Like, yeah, here, I got a big pile of weed. Let's start it. Now that's much better. You should watch the beginning of every show, Jackie. All right, so where were we? I guess, and if anybody wants to call, the number is there. It looks like, we might have a couple of new viewers who might be interested in calling before we call it a night, because we were getting ready to do that, and I was like, oh, I gotta have a puff with my beautiful ninjas, I can't let down the ninjas. I completely forgot about that. I don't know if I've ever forgot to have a puff with you all before. So I'm glad Jackie Cat reminded me. And I'm glad that Jackie Cat is here besides that, for sure. All right, everybody. So the telephone number is there. I'm going to give you a second to call if you want to call. I watched the movie last night. I didn't want to bring it up because it's a stupid movie. Although I think I did mention it earlier. It was called Waiting, and it's another Ryan Reynolds movie. And it made me laugh and laugh and laugh. So it's about workers at a restaurant, which is what I did pretty much my entire life until I moved to Seattle. And I did it for the first year I lived in Seattle too. Very nice restaurants. Restaurant employees tend to be kind of crazy, and I thought that they did a pretty good job of showing that theatrically. And so, if you haven't seen it, I can almost guarantee it will make you laugh. It made me laugh a lot. Since we have no callers, again, Tuesday is going to be the 420th episode, 420th episode of Mox Talks. That's on Tuesday. What day is that? What day is Tuesday? Tuesday. Where's that mouse at? Tuesday is the 18th. Tuesday is the 18th. So Tuesday the 18th. The topic will be the 420th episode of Mox News. Of Mox Talks, and the topic will be, what topic should we talk about? Do you have any topics you'd like to talk about, or something to that effect? What things should we be talking about on the Mox Talks live stream? I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at it so far. I want more people involved. I'm the reason I would ask you, what topics you think would be good for upcoming shows is because I'm trying to get you more involved. That's the truth. I'm pretty good at coming up with topics, but I want people involved. And thanks to all of you who are on a regular basis involved here. It's very nice of you, and I truly appreciate it. If it wasn't for you, I'm quite sure I wouldn't be doing this still. So, on that note, Tuesday, what day was it? The 18th? Is it the 18th? I'm sure it's the, yeah, Tuesday the 18th, 420th episode of Mox Talks. Until then, thanks very much for tuning in, my little ninjas. And remember, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. I hope. I hope so much. And I hope that on that day, we get to all be together to celebrate as individuals expressing true freedom. All right? So until that day, stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.